The glossy brochures raving about Mexico's stunning beaches and dreamy destinations hit the nail on the head. But it isn't all sunshine and rainbows. While Mexico City may appear as glitzy as any first-world metropolis in distant photographs, taking to its streets reveal a different story. Today, we'll dive into the lesser-known dark sides of living in Mexico City. Whether you're looking to explore the culturally exquisite city or move there permanently, it's best to know what you're up against. Let's go. Unreliable basic utilities. Speaking of dark days, Mexico's power outages are no joke. For real, electricity says goodbye to its residents, especially during the transition between seasons and intense thunderstorms. While tourists at big hotels and resorts might not feel the impact, those who call Mexico home will quickly realize that localized power cuts are a regular part of life in the country. Now, these rude interruptions might be common, but at least they're brief. You'll still have to buckle up and be brave during an outage during the storm, even if it's just for a few minutes. It's wise to keep lamps, batteries, and candles handy at all times just in case. These outages can be annoying, especially when you're gearing up for a binge-watching session or in the middle of a crucial Zoom meeting. Let's just say you'll be risking a bad impression on your employer or colleagues. On the bright side, most Mexican households use gas for showers and cooking, and many have surge protectors to shield electronics from power surges. You'll definitely roll your eyes when there's an outage, but it can also offer opportunities for reading, dog walks, work breaks, or preparing a nice meal. On that note, say goodbye to your Wi-Fi access too, because the internet speed here might make you hyperventilate. Just because your provider promises fiber optics, doesn't mean they'll work as well. Bribing police. Speaking of hyperventilation, when you encounter Mexican police, you might find yourself facing a ticket for an offense, or there's a chance you can slip away from it by offering a bribe to the officer. Visitors report this happening most often near the border, in Playa del Carmen, and even in Mexico City. Now, it's crucial to acknowledge that corruption isn't unusual in Mexico, and I'm not endorsing it. I firmly support requesting a proper ticket and holding the police accountable for their actions. My advice? Don't pay the bribe. However, I also understand that being stopped by law enforcement can be intimidating, and the pressure to make a donation to avoid a ticket and save time can be overwhelming. In most instances, if you insist on receiving a ticket for your offense, the officers will likely let you off with just a warning. Loud neighborhoods. If you're a light sleeper, I've got some bad news for you. It's highly recommended to spend some quality time in a neighborhood before committing to renting or buying a house in Mexico. Let's face it, Mexicans breathe life into each city with their vibrant parties, gatherings, and festivals on weekends. It's what binds the communities after all. Not to mention, if you come down to Mazatlan, get ready to hear open-air taxis that have gigantic sound systems with speakers blasting music as they make their way through town. But you won't truly understand how much noise you can tolerate until you've experienced it firsthand in a specific area. On the other hand, you might be fortunate and have considerate, quiet neighbors. You always have the option of testing out a neighborhood by renting a local Airbnb. Just sit back and assess if you'll need ear mufflers or not. But you might only discover that your neighbors love late-night parties once you're already settled in. Many expats find this situation frustrating and struggle with how to address it with their neighbors. Often, confronting them doesn't lead to a resolution, and it could sour your relationship with them. So, best to bring earplugs. Earthquake risk. Are you ready to feel the ground tremble beneath your feet? Because Mexico often has seismic activity, with small tremors occurring almost daily in various regions. This isn't to say some tremors are so minor that you won't even notice them when you're on the move or behind the wheel. Of course, it's necessary that we're all aware that Mexico has faced some destructive earthquakes in the past 4 decades. Come to think of it, Mexico City has been hit by 2 major earthquakes in the last 35 years. Back in 1985, Mexico City was really struck badly with an 8.1 magnitude earthquake. It was a dark day for the city, but never once to stay down, the citizens stepped up. Initially, the president turned down offers of international assistance and downplayed the extent of the earthquake's damage. Next thing you know, citizens took matters into their own hands and formed their own rescue teams. Since then, Mexico City implemented an early warning earthquake system and introduced additional safety measures. But fast forward to 2023, and on July 14th, the residents near the coast of Chiapas state had an unpleasant surprise. There was a magnitude 6.3 earthquake, but thankfully no damage was reported due to how offshore the tremor was. Still, it's something to be aware of, especially if you plan to live in or visit earthquake-prone regions in Mexico. What you can always rely on are upstanding and patriotic citizens to come to your rescue. On the city streets, you'll find designated safe spots marked out, indicating areas where seismic activity is less intense. So please watch your step. Plastic pollution. Let's trash talk real quick. In many Mexican towns, people simply pile their garbage on specific street corners in whatever plastic bags or boxes they have on hand. There's no formal oversight, and it often results in a messy and smelly situation. Why don't they use garbage cans? Well, that's a question you might not get a straightforward answer to. Mexico isn't exactly well prepared to deal with this plastic influx. According to the Plastics Management Index by Back to Blue Initiative, Mexico ranks as one of the least ready countries to tackle the plastic pollution issue. And when it comes to recycling, well, there's not much pickup going on. There's usually just one overload recycling center, and it's a bit of a struggle. Even restaurants skip using biodegradable containers because they're pricey and just use styrofoam instead. It's the go-to choice, and while things are slowly changing, it's been a pretty bumpy ride. On the other hand though, some cool projects are trying to tackle the plastic problem, like the plastic waste colonialism and its use as fuel in Mexico thing. They've made a map showing where plastic gets burned in Mexico, which is pretty neat. But overall, we're still kind of in the dark when it comes to good, solid data on what's happening with all this plastic waste in Mexico. Language hurdles. Comprende? Okay, that's all the Spanish I know. Unless you're already fluent in Spanish, communication can be a real challenge. In cities with a bunch of expats or loads of tourists, you might find some locals who speak English. But if you want to blend into your new community, it's a smart move to pick up at least some Spanish. You might think you're fluent till you meet a native, and you'll feel like a toddler whose words are getting lost in translation. Now, here's the kicker. While it's kind of charming that you're trying to learn Spanish, that won't cut it when you need to pay your phone bill, explain stuff to a busy doctor or dentist, or understand what your landlord, mechanic, or traffic cop is rattling on about. And don't even get me started on the notoriously unreliable mail delivery system. Trying to inquire about where your post has disappeared will leave your head spinning. These situations can be a head-scratcher and frustrating for Americans, but they're all part of the normal way of life for the locals. It's a constant reminder that cultural norms can vary widely, and embracing these differences is a key part of the expat experience. So brace yourself, because you're gonna miss or misunderstand a bunch of things. Maybe it's because your pronunciation isn't spot on, they're talking at warp speed, or you just don't know some crucial words. That's when you'll need boatloads of patience and a good sense of humor to get by. Sketchy areas. Let me talk about spots in Mexico that travelers might want to steer clear of. First off, you want to avoid any areas caught up in cartel conflicts. These mostly crop up in the northern states, and honestly, there's not a ton to draw travelers there anyway. The US State Department keeps an updated list of places they consider unsafe, though they can be a bit overly cautious. Most of the violent crime happens far away from the tourist hotspots. That's why places like Puerto Vallarta, Cabo San Lucas, and the Riviera Maya are generally seen as safe bets in Mexico. Now, the State Department often issues warnings about Guanajuato State, but here's the scoop. Most of the violence is outside of expat havens like San Miguel de Allende and Guanajuato City. And then there's Michoacan, another spot that gets regular warnings. But guess what? Only certain parts of the state are cartel conflict zones. Beloved expat hangouts like Pátzcuaro and Morelia in Michoacan are considered pretty darn safe. Like any city anywhere in the world, you'll come across both safe and less secure neighborhoods in Mexican cities. to stay on the safe side, do your homework and choose a neighborhood with a good reputation. Thankfully, foreigners are rarely targeted in violent crimes. So long as you've got eyes on the front and back of your head, you're good. So, are you still ready to brave the heat and travel to Mexico? Let us know in the comments down below. And if you liked this video, do us a solid and smash that like button. Make sure to subscribe so you'll be the first to know about upcoming content. And buckle up because there's a lot we have in store for you.